It's not working.
Well,
I'm going to try this again.
are you?
Why not?
Aye.
Why is it not working? Well, forget about that, everybody. Did not go as planned. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I am Sarah.
I'm Julie, and we're excited to have Brigitte Kingsley and Andrew Cymek back with us again today.
Yay! Welcome,
guys.
I'm so mad.
There's no sound on that. That
No
just
sound.
it just
That
was
is the
the other
weirdest
day.
thing. Anyway,
Doing great.
we're happy to have you back. By now, I think everybody knows that you guys are some of our favorite guests. So we'll always have fun chatting with you.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for having us back, guys.
Yeah.
We're excited. It's so fun to have you guys here because you guys bring a variety of things to the table when we're talking, because you're both producers, director, actor, screenwriter, like
Writers, yeah.
right?
Everything.
Everything, costuming.
Customer, yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she does a lot of concerts.
Sarah maybe has a sweater right there.
Yeah.
I might.
Oh, that's right. Do you still have the magic sweater?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, just it's
Amazing.
like
It
literally
hangs in my closet.
Amazing.
a lot.
Looks great on you, by the way.
It's like down to my shins.
But she's in the basement in her cedar closet, so she's cold. She puts it on all the time.
I do. It's my closet sweater.
Awesome.
But someday it's going back to you guys. So
I almost felt like your upcoming movie needed the sweater to come back. Andrew's
It
like,
didn't. It was perfectly fine without the sweater. We managed. Actually, we managed just fine.
you
You
managed
know what? Here's the thing.
She's
There
like-
were other sweaters. You have to share. The sweaters need to share with the other sweaters, and there was plenty of other Christmas sweaters that existed in the movie.
This
And
is a
magic was back.
children's Christmas story.
Yeah.
Christmas sweaters need to share.
Exactly.
As written by Andrew.
next movie. But you are here because our Christmas wedding premieres tomorrow night on Great American Family,
That's right.
and we're excited for that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it was a really fun shoot. Sequel to My Boss's Wedding 1, although you don't have to have watched My Boss's Wedding to enjoy what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the tweets that I put out, I really described it as like a warm Christmas hug. And that's kind of the best way to describe this movie, because
Like a warm Christmas sweater.
yeah. Oh, you're killing me, Sarah. You're killing me.
Sarah can always send it back
Yeah.
if you need it. You just message us.
I feel like you can't watch it without smiling and just feeling the warmth that that you feel during Christmas. We have almost the entire original cast back. Holly, Drew,
Mm-hmm.
this one over here, our buddy Landy Cannon. We have Winnie Clark coming back as Holly's friend. And then I also brought in a bunch of actors that I've loved to work with recently. So Colton Royce is also in the movie.
Yeah.
Susan Aman is also in the movie. And Jim is also in the movie. Jim Jenkins is
Dr.
also
Jim.
Dr. Jim's in there.
Dr.
Yeah.
Jim's in the movie. So it was really fun to get everyone together again, and really happy with how it turned out. And it was a great shoot. So
Yeah, so some of those additional actors were in my Grown Up Christmas list, which
yeah, I met them all actually on that project.
He came back with a list of new actors where he's like, I really like this list.
I got more people.
Jim actually told us that that was his favorite group of people he's ever worked with. He was just like, it was such a lovely, positive environment. So
Yeah. And he's just a lot of fun to talk to, actually. He's very interesting.
Yeah, I watched your stream when it was on, and I talked to him about a bunch of stuff he didn't. I mean, when you're shooting, you're busy, right? You don't really, even at lunch. It's like sometimes if someone's talking to me at lunch and I have this face where it's like, and I'm nodding, but I'm thinking about what I have to shoot after lunch.
Right.
But yeah, Jim and I never really got a chance to sit down and talk. But when I was watching your stream when he was on, and the stories he was telling was just incredible. So it's like, oh, I need to talk to him about that kind of stuff. And you know, the right part came up for him to be in this. And yeah, he came in, did this a couple of days, and again, it was a pleasure to work with him again, and pleasure to work with Colton and Susan, and pretty much everyone. Like it's always like I've worked with a lot of these actors. Even, you know, Jim, this is the second time I worked with him, but I've worked with Colton multiple times now, and Susan multiple times. Yeah. I like to work with the same people on a lot of projects. I mean, how many movies have we done with Landy?
Yeah, it's got to be either 10 or 11 now.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the guy, right? So it's like it's good to have him on set, and you know, with Landy, it's like if on lunch, and if I need to de-stress or whatever, it's like we go to the parking lot and throw the football around, and it's just it's family now. It's family, so it's like it's a pretty cool thing. So.
Yeah, your core actors are all back again. So does that make it a lot easier when you're directing a sequel or even acting in a sequel when it's like so many of those people are the same?
I think there's definitely like the chemistry's there, right? Everybody knows each other. So on day one, like everybody sees each other in the trailer, and there's just a nice, warm, comfy feeling. You know, we had so much fun with Holly. The funny thing with Holly is also it's like when we cast her for the sequel, we contacted her, and then her agent sent me a photo, and she's like, by the way, she's like, Holly is actually platinum blonde now. And I was like, what? She has a beautiful head of blonde hair. She looks gorgeous. And but the character, as you know, has very dark hair. Right. So we had to kind of troubleshoot that whole scenario. And we ended up finding a way around it. But at the end of the night, Holly would walk out as a blonde. And she's like, yeah, it's weird. I go say bye to the crew at the end of the day. She's like, nobody knows who I am. With everybody, she walks out and everybody thinks you're somebody that just walked, in on set.
Wandered by, whoever you are.
It's always fun to work with actors who kind of know my process as well. You know, I mean, again, Landy, we've done a lot of movies with, so it's like we kind of go back and forth. And he'll always say to me, he's like, Andrew, you never give me any compliments. I'm like, well, Landy, are we past that? Are we past the?
They keep having you back, yeah.
It's like we've done a lot, but like it's that kind of thing where it's like I can give him a look and he knows that I'm happy, or it's like, okay, we'll need it, or he'll give me a look and it'll be like can I have another one, and like, can you do this? So it's like there's a kind of shorthand there, which is really fun to have with. I just I feel like all of those actors are very strong, and they have a warmth to them. Like what I find, like when I'm casting, like I really want the actors to, especially in these movies where you need them to have that warmth, just like natural warmth.
Right.
And then I just like it because you watch them and it's like, oh, it makes you feel good to watch them.
Yeah.
And they have that natural warmth, right? So
it's a Christmas movie. We want to feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So
a Christmas wedding movie.
Yeah.
I
mean, I was pitching for a big MBW2, Kim's Christmas, Revenge Wedding or something like that. Something just like really eye popping.
Revenge Wedding.
We did not go that route.
But we didn't go that route, so it's like we had to improvise. So.
All right. So since the movie is about planning this wedding, how are we getting Christmas involved? Because a lot of times we're getting a Christmas movie that has a wedding in it, but this one feels the other way around. Like it's kind of a wedding movie, but it's also Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a lot of the premise is they're trying to rush their wedding so they can get married at Christmas time.
Okay.
So it opened up the opportunity to do a lot of things like, the bridal shower is Christmas themed, and everything is sort of like the the little giveaways is like Christmas ornaments. And so we have a lot of fun trying to weave it in as much as possible, and to really, really center it around Christmas as a centerpiece of this movie. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It definitely feels like Christmas. It's, you know.
Yeah. One of the key things I think like you can expect from movies that we do is like, you know, it's that the shots feel like you're in a snow globe, where it feels like you're in a Christmas, you know, they're all it's the warmth, you feel the glow,
the lights,
right? The lights, the
a lot of Christmas trees. We lug a lot of Christmas trees around everywhere we go.
Do you have a lot of twinkle lights too? I put up twinkle lights just in honor of you. And
no. Yeah, they're beautiful. And it was like, you know, usually it's like, can we see, here's the thing, like I feel like in a lot of these movies, whether it's like the Christmas movies or it's the, you know, the autumn movies, or like they kind of like, it's like you can almost have like a giant Christmas bazooka, you know, and you just kind of like aim it and it's just like bang, and then it's like, wow, Christmas, you know, right there. And it's like you turn over there, like, bang, Christmas, right? Like, and I feel like there's like our production designer, Danielle, on this one, it was the first time I was working with her, and her team did an amazing job, I feel, of like putting Christmas in every shot, but not feeling like it's like you feel like someone would have decorated that, right? So it's kind of like, even like with the office, right? There's a lot of Christmas trees in the office, but they're all kind of in places where workers wouldn't trip over them. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah. And she had really strategically planned out the different locations, and each location had their own little specific like look and color pattern and style. And it was really great working with her, because she put so much thought into it, you know, and everything felt a little bit different. Like you'd go to the toy shop and it felt like a toy shop. You went to the office, felt like an office. And the wedding was just spectacular. And then we had this, she was very creative too. We had this great Christmas market, and it was a big empty space, and it was not winter. So she had to find a way to really make it look spectacular. Meanwhile, there's like a stream of fish, you know, swimming. It's the middle of, you know, the fall or whatever. But we had gone to this Christmas farm, and she started negotiating, like, you know, I'm going to borrow this, I'm going to do this, and literally, like, she went with a truck to this Christmas farm, took a bunch of stuff, brought it 2 hours to like locations, set everything up. Yeah, she was quite good at negotiating some really interesting, fun pieces.
Make it look unique, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's specifically for that scene. It's, you know, a lot of times, just because of the nature of these projects where they're shot so quick, you know, you have like similar decorations, and you just kind of like, okay, well, in this movie we're using the decorations from that movie that you know hear, and sometimes you're like, oh, I remember that. Kind of like
the sweater.
a sweater.
Sarah might have the sweater.
Yeah,
I might have to pull it out later.
Yeah, we're you know, there's a reason why that's done, right? But I feel like on this one, it's like everything does look like its own space a lot of the time, and her and her team, you know, did a great job on this. So I was really happy with that. So
yeah, less generic looking, more
yeah.
I like that thoughtfulness. Actually, one of the Christmas people who do Christmas movie reviews, one of the things they were like, most Christmas explosion in a shot or something. Yeah. It was like, in this one shot in this movie, there were 7 Christmas trees behind the people in the shot. They're like, that was like way too many. So it sounds like the perfect balance for you.
I'm just looking at the chat here, and Angie Lyman is saying, I just hope this wedding isn't outside in the frigid cold. No, this one is not in the cold at all. It was actually a beautiful venue. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, that's a really nice place to get married. And
nobody's frozen.
Nobody's frozen.
Nobody's blue.
No.
Lack of blood perfusion to their face.
Yeah.
Makes the critical care doctor cringe.
I still feel so bad when I watch that. Like, oh,
Somebody just posted an edit, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And then once again, I'm just like, there is no perfusion in the face, and this is not good.
Yeah.
But that was not your scene.
In Sappy Holiday, Sappy Holiday ends with ending like a proposal.
Mm.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but it ends with this proposal. It's in front of like almost like a wedding circle wreath, and like that was an example of like a Christmas explosion. But like I wanted it to look almost like Baz Luhrmann-y, like with like all the neon lights around it, and it was just like this magical thing. Because again, it's like you can only stand in front of a Christmas tree so many times before it becomes repetitive, right? So I kind of wanted it to feel like Christmas, so we had the lit up birches and all this, these different things. But that was probably the coldest. And I don't know how John McLaren and Vanessa Sears, they were the two actors in that. And it was it takes a lot for me to not be happy with my surroundings. When I was shooting Astonishing Tales of Terror, the water that I had Landy swim in was, ice cold, but I could swim in it and I'd be like, I'm fine. It's not terrible. But this proposal scene was probably the coldest I've ever been. The batteries that we had on the lights would only last like 10 minutes, and usually it would last an hour. Like it was just sapping everything. And it's a proposal, so they're talking a lot. And John goes down on one knee, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like this, and his hand is just steady.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know how you're doing that, but that's that's
keep
really
that up because we can go inside sooner then.
There's a lot of hot pockets going on everywhere.
Yeah.
Those hot pockets, man, those got to be used.
Oh, man.
Right?
But this wedding wasn't cold, but I've definitely been into my share of.
And A Very Corgi Christmas was probably, it rivals Sappy Holiday for sure.
Yeah, I think
the kissing scene with the Christmas tree,
with
the dog.
That was
the poor puppy.
The poor puppy, like
poor puppy.
As much as like the people are complaining, right? Like the thing is, Kelly and Kevin and like they all go into their warm place and they come out for the, for their scenes, and the dog we're trying to keep warm, but it's like there's
two parkas.
The puppy had two parkas, and there's a scene where it's like like she's there at the tree. And the puppy runs to her. Well, like it's freezing.
Yeah.
Puppy doesn't want to run anywhere. He just wants to be hugged, right? So, you're just like, we got to get this shot. Like, and we were shooting that in Port Perry, right on, again, same thing with My Grown Up Christmas List, where they shot right off a river. We shot right off the water. And that.
We all know how the wind comes off the water.
It's just so chilling. And, it was one of those things. Like some nights you're just like, after you finish shooting, you're like, thank God that is over.
It's like the longest hour ever.
Yeah, you just sit there and just
So what was the hardest scene in this movie that you had to film?
This was one of and I have to say, it was one of the easiest shoots we've ever had. Like everything kind of fell in place. It was super fun. I think probably the most challenging was just location wise. When we shot in was it Hamilton, the nice space? Yeah. So it's like it's just
Kitchener.
Oh, Kitchener. So traveling everybody that far, and then we were doing the big Christmas wedding finale with the big Christmas market back to back in the same. One location was outside, one location was inside. I think it was more just coordinating all of that, and then Danielle happened to get COVID during that week. So it's like she had to work from a distance and from like her iPad, and like, or she'd show up outside from like 10 feet away and try to coordinate stuff. So that was probably the most challenging.
I mean, for me, those days, every shoot, my toughest days are generally the same days. And it's the days when either the gallery shoot or the behind the scenes.
Oh, it's behind the scenes too that day.
Yeah. Like when that's scheduled and that's taking time away from my day.
Yeah.
I know it's a necessary thing to do, but for me, like all I care about is making the movie and getting my shots, right? Now, there's a lot of other people that care about selling the movie and like promoting it and all that stuff, right? but our jobs, sometimes we do this, right? So it's like, and especially when it's, I mean, the wedding scenes have to have the right amount of coverage. You need to get.
We had like 50, 60 background that day. And then we had a whole other team doing all the behind the scenes stuff. So they kept pulling Drew and Holly to do the interviews. Meanwhile, we were trying to get the shots with the background before going into overtime. Like it was a lot.
Those are my least favorite days, right? Where you're just like, Bridge will be like, we need to take, Holly and Drew, and my face is generally like, there's nothing I can do, right?
Right.
And then, because then, halfway through the day, people would be like, so are we good? Are we going to make our day?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's and so many people
about that day, though. We had Drew's parents come to set. They're in the wedding.
Oh,
fun. That is a great Easter egg. So Drew's parents are in the wedding?
Yeah, they play his actual parents. It was so cute because they were in town and they had never really spent time on set with Drew. So I was like, you know what, bring them out. We'll we'll get your mom in hair and makeup, give her a nice dress. Like his dad had a suit, and it was so lovely. They had so much fun. They were so warm, so sweet. And it was a long day, and they just stuck it out, had a great time.
I love that. That is, I was just about to say, is there any Easter eggs? Clearly Drew's parents is our Easter egg for the wedding. Oh, I love that.
Next time we got to get Holly's mom in there. Holly's mom popped by one day, brought everybody some beautiful cupcakes, and she is the loveliest woman in the world as well. So
I love that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So fun. So Drew Seeley's in this movie, and whenever Drew Seeley is in a movie, I think singing. Is there any singing in this movie?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, remember in My Boss's Wedding 1, I mean, again, if you haven't seen it, for those who haven't seen it, he plays an aspiring singer.
Right.
So now that we're a little further on, he's still an aspiring singer, but he's now progressing. So
and part of the premise too is also like he actually gets a chance to write a Christmas song for like his career takes a turn, and he gets hired to do this Christmas song while they're trying to plan their wedding. So that's sort of the added layer.
Love that.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Anytime we can see Drew sing, that's always a big thumbs up.
Yeah.
Right.
He's great in the movie too. Like Holly and Drew are really great in the movie.
So their comic timing, like Holly's got great comic timing.
Yeah, I mean, you may have had a piece of that. I really noticed it in My Boss's Wedding 1. There was a couple line reads where I was like, like there's the "I'm sorry, what" moment, right, where she's kind of like realized that she's been wrong this entire time and all that, and it's just like there's that great moment. So there's a little bit of that in here as well. But all of the characters have progressed. A little bit, it's like the Kim that was in the first, wedding. Like, how would you describe Kim in the first movie?
She's very like all about her and like very, but in this version, she's a little bit more grown up and she cares a lot more.
She's learned from the experience, and married life is she's married to the love of her life, so it's kind of So she's still very, a little pushy in terms of like, like we can do it this way, and like we can do it now, and all that stuff. But it all comes from a place. It all comes from a place of wanting to help, right? So
I love that we'll get to see a little piece of that too, because I do feel like sometimes with sequels, you're not like we had two stories happening in My Boss's Wedding, so to have the kind of two stories continuing is
for sure.
Yeah.
It's super fun. So one of the things is when you shoot things as a director, you kind of have a look or a style sometimes. We're going to get to see some of those beautiful shots again in My Boss's Wedding. Is there any particular scenes you really like?
So this is the first movie that I used a different camera on, like a new camera. It's for any of those tech people watching.
New toys.
I was using the Red Raptor XL, and the sensor was very it's a high-speed sensor. So a lot of times what that means is that how Christmas lights, a lot of times when you're lighting the actor, and the Christmas lights are a certain brightness.
Right.
And sometimes when you're exposing for what the light is is hitting the actor, the Christmas lights look dimmer.
Right.
But with a high-speed sensor, you can now light the actors a little bit lower and expose a little lower, which makes all the Christmas lights rise up. So it's a little brighter, all the Christmas lights around you. So you get the kind of get that feeling, right? Yeah, I mean, I also was director of photography on this. So I lit this one and shot this one. There's a lot of scenes where it's like it feels like Christmas to me. It's like if I closed my eyes and thought Christmas. Like we didn't shoot this in the winter, so when it's shot when it's not in the winter, you're not going to get those shots like Kayla walking down the street,
Right.
with all like that depth, or like the bridge scene where it's like, if you always notice when they use fake snow, it's all like very cramped and limited, right? I mean, those wide landscapes you're just not going to get when you're not shooting in winter.
Right.
You don't get the random, it's going to start snowing for you besides while you're shooting down the street.
So the key is really to try to get that same Christmas feeling without being outside that much, and also trying to get like that feeling of the warmth that you feel inside while there is cold outside. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
so a lot of that, soft lighting, and there's challenging scenes to light. Like it's always difficult to make an office with a lot of windows when you're shooting in the summer look like winter and but still warm at the same time. But that's all fun stuff to try to figure out on the day. Like I have a good team that really works well with me. So it's, yeah.
And honestly, to summarize, like in my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful Christmas movies Andrew shot. Like I was so proud of him. It was so pretty. Every shot is gorgeous. And when we delivered it to the network, they were so happy. They're like, guys, it's beautiful. So I'm really proud of him.
I love that.
We're proud of both of you.
Yeah, we're proud of both of you. When you were shooting this, Brigitte, did you put up a whole bunch of your wardrobe into? I think I remember stories. You had a bunch of like business suits, beautiful.
Yeah, I did.
Shirts.
So
That's right.
Like I knew we were shooting it, so I started doing wardrobe a little bit of ahead of time just to get a head start with it. So yeah, we ended up using most of those outfits in the movie. So that's pretty much.
There was a couple there. There was a blouse that you looked stunning in. I was like, oh, that's gonna look great on the screen. Like I was like, that is beautiful. It looks business, but it's stunning. I'm like, oh, that'll look good on screen.
Thank you.
I'm sure. All right, so I want to know, what are some of the ways that you make things feel, cozy, and fake winter. So like when you're inside, what are some of your tricks that you?
I think color palette is one
trick
thing.
us?
Like we definitely always work with a color palette, and that
that's like the first step. Like even before you really start lighting, it's like Brigitte and I will always talk about a color palette that we want to stay in, right? And usually I always say, I think there's only a few movies. From Friend to Fiance was one where I was.
And my boss's wedding one. I convinced you to do. We have purple and pinks in that.
Yeah. So usually I don't go. I love the primary colors, like the red, green, blue, yellow. Like not yellow, but gold, right? Like the deep. So I would always like Country Crush, Autumn Stables, except for those pajamas.
Those are spectacular.
Well, yeah,
we're still learning about color palettes,
but they don't fit any color palette whatsoever, right?
But still, they're memorable. So
that's why everybody remembers them. Yeah.
I try to put all of my characters into primary colors, and because it's like for me growing up, the Christmas tree, we didn't have purple lights. We did it was red, green, and blue, and yellow and gold lights. Like that was Christmas to me. And now, with LEDs, you can do all the different colors. But for me, Christmas was always that. So if we stick with that with the wardrobe, okay, already. So even before I put light into it, there's always already that Christmas feel. And then obviously you have greens and reds because it's a Christmas movie. It's just our cat is saying
our cat's making an appearance.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name again?
Zombie
with two, but you spell it with two eyes, not I-E. It's
two eyes.
Okay.
Yeah. When she found us, she was disease ridden,
Okay.
and she was a kitten, and
She was like 6 weeks old.
6 weeks old, and she was just like, we had other outside cats, and she was hanging around the house, and I could only see her from afar. She'd always run away, but she had like these black spots under her eyes, right?
And her nose.
So I started to call her the zombie cat. Well, I finally caught her, got her up close, and realized that it was all infection.
Oh.
It was all like, it wasn't markings. It was actually infected. So we got some antibiotics and took care of her and
nursed her back to health.
And now she won't do you see her?
Yeah, I see her right now. She's like stalking. I can see her right over your shoulders.
Yeah, she's just
She just sits upstairs. I've been gone for 5 days, so it's like now she stalks me all day. She comes to do a little bit of stalking when I come back.
She what's funny is like, so if I'm gone, fine, right? Like cats don't care, but when she's gone, I barely see them. They don't say anything, but as soon as she's home, it's like, I miss you so much. I'm just like, what? I got none of that. What's going on? I feed you too.
Well, I missed you.
No, I get that from you. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
I duck you, she ducks me. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, color palette. All right. So after that's done, then the trick is really like with Christmas movies, in my opinion, I find a lot of times it's difficult when you're outside all the time and everything's so bright, right? And even though in the winter it's very bright because of the snow reflection, most people don't think of winter as bright. They think of it as dark because of daylight savings times. So the key would always be to lower just the ambient light in any room that you're in, so that it's just a little bit darker. And then that way, if it's a little bit lower, you can color balance the inside to be, because there's the different, you when you pick up bulbs, you pick up different color bulbs, right? You have the warm temperature, the tungsten, and then the daylight temperature, which is bluer, right? So you have blue and orange, right? So the camera you'll select what color it will read as white. So if you put that kind of in the middle, right? So then the orange will look a little, orange, and then the blue light, you'll light outside the windows with, blue will come across more bluer than, white daylight. And you kind of get that mix of feeling, right? So it's like they do that a lot in like other movies, but that's kind of like, you just start to play and then you dial back intensities until you, find the right level. But like, I always like the scenes where they have this beautiful candlelit dinner, right? And it's almost like, I almost lit the whole thing just with the candles, right? I had very little light. But with these, with the new cameras, they can really capture it. So usually you have to pump in a bunch of light to expose it. But these new cameras are so great that you can actually just kind of augment it, right? Like just a little bit. And I would say, like, try not to overlight, let them be in the scene. And that's like, and then, add the winky lights in the.
And add nice cozy sweaters.
Cozy sweaters, yeah.
I love that.
So we can look for a candlelit scene.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
Did you play with the camera quite a bit before you started shooting with a new camera?
So this is my third Red camera. So it was like, I've been using Red cameras kind of throughout my career. So it's like, I feel like this is the one that if they could have made this one first, this is the one they would have made.
Okay.
As the technology goes. But no, like this was, I knew what it was capable of, what again, kind of going into tech jargon a bit, but there's a level of grain in the darks that if you light it too dark and you bring the brightness up, like you change the exposure, like any shot that you have, sometimes there's a level of noise and grain that kind of is in that level, so you can't adjust it very much. What I was amazed at, it was just how clean the darks were in the camera, where I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of tech garbage.
He loves his toys, so every like year or so, or a couple years, Andrew's like, they have a new camera. And then he'll buy it and he'll be like, but this is the last camera we'll need. Like, this camera is going to be like good forever. And then
No, it's not. No, it's not.
so there's a new camera.
Well, it's because then it can just do the next thing. And being able to adjust, thinking you hit one thing and maybe you want it slightly different and have that come out clear, I can absolutely see why that would be super helpful when you're shooting, right?
And it really does affect the look of the movie. Like, it was fun because I'm not a tech person.
Right.
So when I started seeing the dailies, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like it actually makes a difference. Like, it gives it a completely different look. So it's fun.
It was fun to use it, and I'm excited to shoot the next, our next project, whatever that is, going to be with it. So yeah, it's pretty great.
Great. So you're into cameras and buying that. What is your kind of vice, Brigitte? Like, what do you like to get? Because you're in this together. I mean, you have this production company. So
in terms of stuff like that, not
well, I buy her stuff like paper. So like,
he's trying to get me to buy a new computer right now because my computer is so
pens.
old and I get attached to things. So I just keep the stuff I like. I don't know. There's nothing really like. I just get excited about the work. Like, I get excited about the new scripts, and I get excited about casting, and I like doing the wardrobe and all of that stuff. For me is the fun part.
So you love the process, the new project process.
I do, yeah. I love seeing like which characters we're gonna put in there and which actors are gonna play them well. And then I actually really do love doing the wardrobe aspect of it, where you start kind of piecing together. This is going to be this person's look, and they're going to, primarily live in these color palettes. And then this person's going to be primarily in this color palette. Like, I don't know. I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, we're not like, it's kind of weird that we don't really, look, I buy Batman statues too.
As you should.
Yeah.
And she allows that to happen.
I buy tickets to New Kids on the Block concert.
That's what she does.
That's what I do. Yeah.
As you should. Okay.
She went to the Joey McIntyre concert in Toronto.
Front row, center. It was the first time in my life I was like, you know what? I can actually get front row tickets this time.
I'm an adult and I have a job. I'm buying.
I'm a human that can actually. We don't really splurge on much. Like, we never splurge on anything. We don't travel much. Like, we don't do
pretty much most of the stuff that we do is like we just put it into our movies, right?
Our movie in our house. Like, that's where homebodies, right? So it's like, so the one thing that I do splurge, so I surprised my mom, my sister, and my best friend with front row tickets to the Joey Mac concert.
Fun. Super fun.
I couldn't say anything.
He is the best one, though, right?
I couldn't say anything because I had a giant statue of Batman punching Superman.
Okay, and also today. He's like, so he went to Calgary for Halloween, and he spent Halloween with our two nieces, which are they're big comic book fans. Like, they love all of that stuff. So it's like, Andrew came up to me today. He's like, so I found a guy who can make me an original Batman costume, but like a real one. I was like,
what happened?
How much is that? He's like, it's expensive. I was like, okay.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
Right. I work at a children's hospital.
They would be if Batman showed up at their door on Halloween, right? I was like, can't argue with that.
I work at a children's hospital. We have a guy that comes in like a full professional Batman costume. It's spectacular, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like, the kids will just lose their minds.
Okay, this is the deal. If he gets a Batman costume, do you get a Catwoman costume?
I don't think kids would like that. I mean, that might be just for him. He would
like it.
We'll go, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Terry's over here. Yes. No. So let us know when the Batman costume comes, or
next Halloween you'll see pictures.
Yeah, you're gonna need to put that up in.
Maybe you can start sneaking that into movies now, like.
Copyright might be an issue.
Andrew in the back in the Batman costume, drinking coffee or something.
Just change it a little bit,
Yeah, no, we're not changing. Yeah, change it.
That's funny.
So did you Do you have this costume? Is it starting to be made? Is it?
Not yet. Like because it's for good to be for next year. I've just done the preliminary, like planning for it, and it's not something that you just kind of order.
No. Got to get fitted for it.
Yeah, it's a thing. So,
It's
and he's got enough time now to like. I'm expecting in a few months from now. He's like, so I found the Batman car.
No, not the car. That's the Back to the Future.
The DeLorean, yeah.
Oh, the
DeLorean.
We have a DeLorean right around our house here that just randomly will be filling up at the gas station with it or whatever.
Greatest car.
It's like, I mean, they were a disaster, but
Doesn't matter.
I'll just be driving the Target behind the DeLorean.
We found a place where they do an exact replica of the Back to the Future car, so it comes all decked out with everything. And I was like, hey, you can get it, but we have to pay off like the loan for it by Ubering. Like we'll do Uber rides in Port Perry in the DeLorean.
We'll just start chucking banana peels into it to run it. And
yeah, great. We'll show up.
Yeah.
Right.
88 miles an hour.
That's hysterical. Imagine if your Uber pulled up.
It's a DeLorean. Like you get to charge extra if you have a DeLorean, right?
That's what I thought. We'd at least get free tips. On a Saturday night. It's not like we do much. So it's like on Saturday night, we'll just go around.
But you can tell who's the business side. And who has the
crazy idea. You gotta pay for that.
She just finds
ways of
making it work.
I'm like, you can have your DeLorean. We just need to find a way to finance your DeLorean. I think it's a fair business deal.
Yeah. No, I just am waiting for the movie where there's just in the way background there's a DeLorean that parks and Batman gets out of it.
Batman there. He's the director.
Just in the background. Knowledge.
All the behind the scenes will be Andrew in his Batman outfit. Like, hold on.
It won't. Just for my nieces. That's it.
You spend that much money on it. We're gonna need to see it in a movie.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be a reason to get the Batman costume out. You'll need to make a Halloween movie and a costume party.
We need a Halloween movie.
Fall movie costume
party.
That'd
be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Sarah and I can come and sit in the background and drink hot cocoa. Like she can wear the sweater. She can wear the sweater.
Yeah. Love it.
I can't wait to see the review.
Batman, there's a DeLorean. Magic sweater's back.
Yeah.
We just need a corgi, and there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Just everything. Yeah.
Add a corgi in. So do you want to play a little game with it? Well, do you want to play our Christmas game with us?
Yeah.
We're terrible at that, Julie.
We'll start like with a horror movie like that there, Sarah. Would you like to play a game? What kind of game?
Is that the next horror movie?
Yeah. Want to play a game? That's the name of it. Want to play a game?
Yeah.
There's a Batman and a DeLorean in it.
Yeah. And magic sweater.
Yeah.
Magic sweater.
Guys, we're really good at this brainstorming thing.
I know, you should hire us.
Yeah.
We're there for you.
All the great ideas.
Right? Are we playing our game? We have a naughty and nice list is what our game is.
Naughty and nice. And let's switch. You do the naughty list this time and I'll do the nice.
Don't I always do the naughty list?
No, you always do the nice list.
All right, you start with the nice list.
All right. If you had to live in one holiday movie, what would it be?
Polar Express? No.
Oh, it lives there.
Oh, yeah.
See, we think about these questions probably a little too much.
It's a good Christmas movie.
If I could live in a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Very pretty Christmas. We'd live with like corgis.
I would live in The Art of Christmas. So that
that's really nice.
So that I can come in and sweep her off her feet.
Oh,
that was really sweet.
That was really sweet.
See, you give me a little bit of time to think. I can come up with it.
And I got to live in that movie
really
too.
Sweet.
Well, she's already in that movie. So.
You're already in that movie, so you got to pick a different one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll live in a very corgi Christmas and like just cuddle corgis.
Just like because you'll just be holding corgis in the background and petting puppies.
I'll send this back to you, and you'll feel right at home.
Oh, there you go.
Did you ever see the behind the scenes of A Very Quirky Christmas, like when we had to give the dog back?
No.
No.
Okay, if Brigitte has it, I'm gonna have her post it like this Christmas.
You did not want to give the puppy back,
Oh,
right?
it was so sad. Okay, so first of all, the puppy had grown up with his mom. His mom was named Molly, and then the puppy was Sherlock. And like on the last day of shooting, the owners that had, adopted Sherlock were coming to see him and pick him up. And so they show up and we're like, oh my God, Molly's never going to see Sherlock again. And they were they were taking a t-shirt and like rubbing Molly's fur so that Sherlock can go home with like the mom scent. And Kelly Kruger and I were bawling. Like there were tears all around. They're taking the dog away. It was like.
And here's the thing, I'm actually not there. I'm setting up, I'm working. I am setting up the next shot and I walk in and everyone's crying and I'm like, what is going on here?
This is not going to look good on camera.
And then they're looking at me. I was like, oh, okay. Go back to work, but it was traumatizing. But we have it on video where they're like,
you should
That's
post that.
Turning when Sherlock, because Sherlock's little ears were up, and then one day, like Lindsay, which had the dog, she's like, oh my God, I have some really bad news. And we're like, what's the bad news? She's like, something happened to Sherlock. We're like, oh my God, what happened to Sherlock? She's like, his little ear flopped down and we can't get it back up. And I was like, oh my God, that's adorable. She had brought him in and she had like a roll of toilet paper to try to like prop the ear up to get him. Because I guess at some point the corgi ears go up, but when they're born, they're floppy. Right. So now we had him like this. And most of the movie, you'll see that Sherlock is like,
Sherlock's so adorable, right?
So cute like that.
So cute.
Yeah, so we have all the behind the scenes of him running around with a little like roll of toilet paper trying to keep his little ear
up. That's adorable. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to the unbuttoned or naughty list. What is a holiday gift you didn't get as a kid but dreamed of? Or any gift?
Oh my gosh.
We asked this at Rama Drama, the actors on the red carpet, and got some amazing answers, actually.
Really?
Did you get everything you ever wanted?
No. But like, I feel like as a kid, we eventually would get it. But I think there was a Smurf one year, like I really, really wanted it. We eventually got it, but not at Christmas.
Right. Those were
my dad had gone on a business trip and he came back with a Smurf. I remember that.
Those were so popular one year. I can remember that like you couldn't get them. It wasn't quite Cabbage Patch level, but
Cabbage Patch. I remember that. We actually had gotten a Cabbage Patch Kid that year, and I remember my dad had found, or my mom. Anyway, somebody had found an extra Cabbage Patch Kid, and they had bought it to give to somebody else just because they were so hard to find. Like it was a thing that year.
Yeah, I got to go to the Cabbage Patch Hospital and get my Cabbage Patch after it was born.
Oh my God. That's
in New York City, yes.
That's awesome.
Wow.
It was a big deal back then.
There was a hospital, yep. I feel like there might still be one in existence, but
oh my God, that's awesome.
I think my parents were always so we never they always made Christmas really special. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if I even remember if I know I didn't get stuff that I wanted, but
you didn't remember it. Yeah.
I don't remember it because it was. I don't know if you guys remember I was Consumers Distributing at all in the States. It was a store
no.
So even if let's say something was too expensive at the time, there was always Boxing Day. So some of my best memories were Captain Power. It was like this show that was on television where you could hold up the spaceship to the TV and you would actually fire at the TV show. Like it had places. And if you moved it a certain way, your pilot would eject out of the Captain Power would be shot out of.
We had that here. Yeah, that's cool.
It was a really great show. The toys broke almost instantly. They were for how expensive they were.
Of course.
But I really wanted those as a kid. One Christmas, and my dad was like, I didn't get them to you, but I know for a fact that Boxing Day they're going 50% off. And I remember he and I were like waiting in line. I think it was at Canadian Tire at the time, and it was really early the next day, and we were like second in line because they only had like 2 of them on the shelf. And the doors open, and I remember my dad going, "Run!" And because I knew where it was, and he just, we got it, and it was just like, yeah, my parents were just always like, they're the best parents in the world. So it's like, never really felt like
there was so much love.
Right.
Yeah, like they always made it like my mom would do stuff like, she would like, if we wanted something, she would take it and put it in a different box.
Yeah.
So make us think that we didn't get it.
Right.
And then
my mother the same.
Right. And it was like the funniest thing though. It's like, so she would always do that. And it's like back then when we were kids, it was like, oh, you get this like jar of, or a can of cashews, right? And you're a kid. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're giving me food for like,
Right.
Technically you should feed me. I'm a kid. Right?
Like legally, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't special, right? This isn't Christmas. And then you open it up and it's like, oh, it's the new Star Wars action figure that I wanted, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's great. But the funny thing is that my mom hasn't changed. The boxes have changed though. And now, like, everyone's got an iPhone and they got iPhone boxes, and she's putting presents in these really expensive
iPhone boxes. iPhone. Like, oh,
and you're like, and as soon as you open it and it's an iPhone, you're like, well, I know it's not.
It's not an iPhone. I love that. Your mom is just like speaks on brand.
Yeah. So
that's spectacular.
She recycles really well. So
I love the memory though that you and your dad like went way early in the morning the next day and sprinted to get in. Like those are.
Yeah. Well, he didn't sprint.
You sprinted.
I sprinted. So.
Those are some of the best memories. I mean, my oldest son remembers he was like 5 or 6 maybe, and he decided he was going to buy his sister an easy bake oven, and they were like day after Thanksgiving special, and like we got up and went to Toys R Us at some crazy hour in the morning so he could wait in line with his cash to buy her easy bake oven. I was just like, dude, I'll buy it. But he was like focused, laser focused, and he had to run into it like to fight because they were so cheap to there's a pile up, right?
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Like I think we grew up in a generation where Christmas was so special, right?
Yeah.
It's like you waited all year, and it's like our parents always made such a special thing out of it, and it's like we didn't have access to I want this, I'm gonna go get it today. It's like you're waiting for Christmas, and then Christmas is just so. It was
like
so
before
wonderful.
Amazon, where you was like,
my 13-year-old just sends me links now, like no, put it on your Christmas list.
Yeah, exactly.
Once a year, no.
Yeah. Oh no, my kids been sending me links for a lot of years, like more than a decade. Yeah. Josh used to do a PowerPoint for his Christmas. Oh, no. It'd be all animated and beautifully laid out.
These are the economics. If you buy this, and it's like when it goes on sale, exactly. It's like this time. Yeah.
Some kids are over the top. He'd be that one.
All right. So if you were one of Santa's elves, what would your name be?
Oh wow, these are tough. Bubbly Bee.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, Bubbly Bee. I was just like, chances are, like, because Bubbly Bee is so fun, right? And I'm not fun, so I was just like, my name would be Andrew. that would like, like, isn't like in the Rudolph, like there's all the elves are there's the one elf that's guy's name. It's like I feel like I'd just be Andrew. Hey, that's Bubbly Bee. That's Cookie McGee, and that's Andrew.
When I first started dating Andrew, I was like, I loved the name Drew because I was a big Drew Barrymore fan.
Yeah.
And I always loved the name Drew for guys as well. And so I was like, oh, your name's Andrew. I was like, can I call you Drew? He's like, no.
Nope.
He's like, my name's Andrew. I was like, I'm just a kid. And, like, it's a girl or a boy. We can call them Drew. It'd be really cute. He's like,
No.
No, yeah.
Which is hilarious because I'm sorry, if a beautiful woman like Brigitte is going to like you and she wants to call you Jordan, you still said no.
no. He was very solid on who he was. I had to work hard to get this guy.
Look, I've had enough of my ego beaten down when I started dating this woman by my family that I was like, no, she's gonna love me for who I am. I still remember. I brought, Brigitte, like we were going out on like one of our first dates, and she came by the house. I was like, hey, everybody, this is Brigitte. And they're like, great. And I didn't know this later, but the stories all come out later, right?
Yep.
And we go out on our date, and my brother, who I think was
15
at the time,
Yeah.
and he was with my dad, and he just turns to my dad and goes, no way. No way.
They're giving the over under on this actually.
Yeah, they're just like, no way. And then my mom, so I get home and she's like, oh, did you have a good, nice time? I'm like, yeah, I had a nice time. It's like, she seems really nice. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, you should try combing your hair. And I said, Mama, she's going to love me with messy hair. It's fine. Like, I'm not, I'm who I am. And yeah, but like my family was all aboard, like, oh, Brigitte's amazing. You're not. So let's really try with this one, okay? And
I thought it was amazing the moment I met him.
Try to keep this one.
Oh,
Oh my god. All right, so I need to know, how old were you guys when you first started dating?
Okay, well, the story goes, we met in 1999.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Sounds like my story already.
We'll just bust out the Prince songs now. Let's party like it's 1999.
And I auditioned for one of his projects because we were both at York University. I was in the acting program. He was in the film program. And the moment I saw him, I went home and I was like, I met the man I'm going to marry. And I was like, knew right away. But it took me 3 years to actually get a date with him. So I had to work really hard and be very patient.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was engaged and getting married to someone else
okay,
at the time.
So the next story goes,
okay,
not
that's a good
at the
excuse.
time that I met him, but he was dating a girl named Brigitte, same name.
Oh my god.
You just got the wrong Bridget, but that's okay. And I remember one day it became a joke in my house where I was like, oh, this is the boy I'm going to marry. Like it wasn't like I was in love with him. It wasn't like I had actually a very lovely boyfriend that I actually really, really genuinely liked. It was just one of those feelings, but I was like, nah, I don't know what it is. I was like, it's going to be this guy. I don't know what. And then, so one day it was Christmas time and my grandma was in the hospital. So everybody was there and I was like, oh, I'm going to go make a phone call back in the day when it was, actually pay phones. I was like, I'm going to call the boy I'm going to marry, just wish him Merry Christmas. And I was like, hey, Andrew, just want to wish you Merry Christmas. He's like, hey, guess what? I was like, what? He's like, I got engaged. And I was like,
oh,
jeez. Weird. Okay. I was like, well, congratulations. That's great. And then I got off the phone. I was like, oh, that's so weird because it's such a strong gut feeling. And I was like, I guess I was wrong. But then fast forward.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Should have combed my hair, I guess. I don't know. But that ended horribly. And
then eventually I got the boy,
Yeah. We just, like after that, I still remember it was, I was a wreck. I was like a mess after that. It's like whenever like your life is upended in any sort of way, you're just like, and I was, you're young, you think it's going a certain way, and you could probably tell that I kind of, I'm pretty confident. So just picture that without any experience.
Yeah.
Right? Gain confidence, no experience. So it's like, you're going there and then you get like your entire life is just like changed. And you're like, oh, I was not expecting that, like floored.
Yep.
Also, feeling like unexpected events is not maybe your favorite either.
Oh, no.
And they were high school sweethearts. They got engaged really young. Like it was,
Yeah. And so, I was just like, Brigitte had acted in some of my movies. And I remember she threw me a birthday party. And I was like, oh, that's odd. Like I never thought that she would, like anyone would do that. Right. And she threw me a birthday party. And then, time, we just kind of talked. Like it was very slow. We were just talking over, we would, when I was working in downtown Toronto, and she would come to visit me, and we would go and we would just talk, and it was always just like a friendship, right? And then I remember one day she was over at the house, and we were going to go for a walk, and I still to this day I remember this like it'll be always etched in my mind. I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, and she's sitting on the floor. We're watching TV, and she's at my knees, right? And she's kind of leaning up against my shins, and she's looking there. And this is totally just a guy who's fishing, right? Like I don't. Right at this point, I'm not feeling anything about anything. I'm like, no, I'm very numb to everything. And I basically say, hey, do you think we're meant to be together? And I describe it almost like an exorcist moment where her head just like it is, like obviously it's not spinning, but like because I just kind of threw it out there, right? And she just turns and she looks with, I have never seen such like sincerity and like sureness in
Yes.
anybody. And she just looks at me and goes, absolutely 100%. And I was like,
Okay.
and like we didn't actually start dating right there. It was still like, took a while. And then
he was really hard to win over, guys. I'm telling you.
and then it was September 11th.
Yeah.
September 11th happened, and
Yeah.
I called her up, and we didn't know what was going on then. And I was like, I don't want to, like just look, basically beat around the bush and be like, oh, what are we doing here? Like, do you want to be a thing with me? And she's like, yeah. And that's when we started dating, and then, and then got married, and
here we are.
Right now,
Did
did you start writing this down? This is a movie.
My dad says that it's a movie, and I said, well, it's my movie, so it's fine.
Also, it's like the piece we didn't say, it's like I always knew he was meant to be, but also the piece you guys didn't hear is when I put my photo up on the film board, it's supposed to stay up there and anybody can kind of like take the information down and call for auditions. But Andrew walked by and he actually took my photo down and he put it in his bag, and he's like, no, she's going to be in my movie and nobody else's. So I was like, I feel like there's a part of him in there somewhere.
Well, no, 100%. Like it was definitely like, and also like
we were meant to be.
But that it might sound creepy to some people, but we didn't have camera phones.
Right.
I couldn't just
take a photo.
Take a photo. You have to find a way of knowing the information.
And everybody's casting, so you gotta pick and choose who you're gonna have.
I picked Victor.
There you go.
Just
yeah, you did.
Get it.
I love this. This is so
This is the best story ever. Also, don't about half the movies start out you're with the wrong people? Like, isn't that the beginning of this?
Yeah, but you know what? Those movies don't show how painful that is. Like,
right.
Like they're like
not on the network.
I was a really nice guy, guys. He was just very lovely.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like your sister's wedding.
Oh yeah. Just stop the door.
Okay.
It's fine.
Like the thing is like it's.
I knew well in advance that he was going to be my husband, and it took him a little while.
Yeah.
My sister was getting married, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's got to be at my sister's wedding because he's going to be in my life forever. And if he misses my sister's wedding, it's going to suck." So I hired him to be the videographer at my sister's wedding, just so he would be there.
Sorry, be there at your sister's wedding.
$700 20 years ago.
Yeah,
a lot of money. I was a poor, starving artist, and I gathered my little money, and I paid him $700 to show up at my sister's wedding so that he could be the videographer.
It was an investment.
It was. It was like I did not want him to miss that special day.
It was a nice wedding.
It was beautiful.
I bet there's some amazing video from that wedding.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. He did a great job.
This is the cutest story ever.
I
by
know.
the way.
I love it.
Also, I'm just like, I'm still a little like I'm sorry, but Brigitte wants to be with you, and you take that long to get there.
Guys, 3 years for my first date.
I'm like, have you looked at her? She's stunning. Okay, this is.
Look,
So I would like
I
to
don't
say.
have an explanation as to why.
And then let me tell you how long I had to wait till he proposed.
Oh boy.
Andrew, let me just tell you, as much as I'm laughing here, I'm just going to tell you, you're never going to see my husband come walking by or poke his head in here. He's hiding in the farthest corner of this house, and he's, engineering support at somewhere, and he's not an extrovert. So the problem is I can relate to this way too much.
I mean, maybe I was a little intimidated. I don't know, so, but it
all worked out.
Yeah, very, very blessed, very happy to find like a great partner in just everything. People always ask how is it working together? They're always surprised that we actually enjoy working together. It's a thing, and it's no, it's the best thing in the world. So
because you get each other, right?
Yeah. I love it.
I love that. Actually, I love that about a lot of these production companies. It is a lot of families or just a group of friends that are running these. It's and you work with the people that you really care about, and so I actually kind of love that piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I feel like that we don't need to keep asking questions. That was how can we top that?
You can't top that.
That's well, game over, guys. Game over.
It was such a beautiful story, though. I kind of just love it. We've had a couple of these how'd you get together stories that are just oh my gosh, that was amazing. Right. So right.
It's always fun because everybody has such a different story, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Not everyone's like Sarah, who's known her husband since she was 2 or whatever.
Is that how long you've known your husband?
6. We were 6, first grade.
That's so cute.
But no, that's just because we went to a little school. What was that?
When did you guys start dating?
99.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Right after we graduated high school.
I won't say how many children I had by 99.
Yeah, we're now married. I think we've been married 17 years. I should probably do the math. I think it's with 17 years.
Right?
We're 18 years now.
Yeah, we're 18. So.
And what about you, Julie? How long have you been married?
36.
Oh, good for you. Nice.
I got married when I was a small child.
I was like, you must have been very young when you got married.
I was quite young, and my husband's a fair amount older than me. And I've also known him. Something Sarah probably doesn't know. Pretty much my entire life. So
really,
yeah,
we grew up in the same church. So
same. Yeah.
His little brother's quite a bit younger than him and is a year older than me, but he was friends with my brother. So.
Nice.
Thanks, Angie. Yes, I always have to ask Angie. 17 years. Yes.
Yeah, that's a 99.
We have the same timelines.
Timelines to their lives.
All right, let's wrap up with a one.
Sure.
More.
You
okay, what song would you crush in Christmas karaoke?
I would not be allowed to sing Christmas karaoke. Let's be real. Andrew once chose a scene for me in Dark Rising, and it was called Death by Karaoke. And it was my character would kill demons and stuff like that in 100 different ways. And one of the ways was Death by Karaoke. And it's literally me singing. And I still remember I'm belting it out. And then one of the backgrounds after the scene, they're like, oh my God, you were so good at being so bad. How did you prep yourself to sing so bad? I was like, baby, that was me. That was me doing my best.
Yeah, I love when background compliments the actors.
So we will not see you singing with Drew on any movie.
It's so painful. It's
it's one of those wishes. I wish she could sing because she loves it
so much.
So much.
I sing a lot, and
she loves to sing, but
It's like nails on chalkboard. Like it's,
I love that you love to sing anyways, though. You get
I'm
it.
gonna tell you a quick story
Yes.
about my singing. So when I was in grade 7, I was fairly new at the school, and we were doing a Christmas concert, and it's like all the kids are sitting around like a little fake fire, and we're singing a Christmas carol, and that's our grade's, performance for the Christmas concert. And my teacher, Madame Chambray, still remember her name. She always wore green, and she looked at me and she said, "You're gonna have to lip sync because it's really ruining the song." I had to lip sync in my grade 7 concert. Yeah, was not allowed to sing.
She
That's
could
how
have
bad.
said, like, could you sing quieter because you're loud? I would
Yeah,
never tell a
anything would have been nicer, right? This was a scarring moment in my life. Always.
I mean, and to answer your question, I'm not a good singer either. I have a similar story. Grade 6, my friend Kevin Youngchi, my best friend in grade school, both of us were in the choir. Same thing happened. They were doing a pageant that required singing, and to this day, I don't know which one. See, you can't just single out one person, right? So it's either me or Kevin's really bad. I'm not sure, because both of us were not allowed to participate in practice, and they would put us in the library. So during when they would practice, they would just say, Kevin and Andrew, you just go and hang out in the library, and we're just going to sing. And we were like, oh, well, he's my best friend. Great. Like, I don't have to be in class, right? Like, I just have to hang out here and we can just not do anything. That's great. Now, then you think about it, like, how bad are we? And then you get older, and then you start to think, like, well, was I the bad one? Because you can't put one kid in the library. Like, that's just mean, right? So, and
What
like
kind
the
of
fact that we
teachers
were
do you have
best
in
friends,
Canada? Jeez.
the fact that we were best friends kind of makes you think that, well, if Kevin was the bad one, then maybe we'll just put Andrew with him because he's not very good. Like, he's better than Kevin, but like he's still not very good. So maybe that was it, or maybe I'm the bad one, and then Kevin was the like the.
So we're not
sure.
We're not
We're not sure. So in terms of karaoke, my favorite memory is my cinematographer Joshua Freeman. We were shooting Astonishing Tales of Terror, and I love Bonnie Tyler's "Total Eclipse of the Heart."
Oh yeah,
it's like one of my favorite songs.
Yes. First of all, it's just amazing. So,
and when we have a very small team working, and a lot of times, like, you shoot one direction and then you turn around to shoot the other direction, and it's called a turnaround. Okay. So at the very last turnaround of every shoot, we play
Turnaround.
Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it's a long song, and we have to be turned around by the time the song is
all right.
But my favorite karaoke,
we've
been doing this for 10 years with Josh, right? Yeah. So my favorite memory of karaoke is basically we were at a karaoke bar shooting Astonishing Tales of Terror, and he basically went up there, was like, Andrew, this one's for you, and sang Total Eclipse of the Heart, and it was
beautiful.
It was
gorgeous.
It was awesome. It was beautiful. It was everything that I wish I could do, but so yeah. I would probably have sung that song if I could.
All right, so you really can't do everything. You can't sing.
You that we were terrible.
Because it feels like the two of you can do everything. So there we go.
Between the two of us, we can't carry half a tune.
I don't love that. I'm just gonna say, I am so sorry that your middle school teacher did that to you. That's weird.
No, these are lessons that you have to learn. They make you tough in here.
I am going to say my son is a choir teacher. He would be appalled at this moment right now.
So what do you tell a kid if they're terrible?
They're in choir. They're there to learn, to have fun. You're still going to learn about music, enjoy the people around you. Like there's so much more happening during these performances than if you can sing or not. He's got special needs kids in his classes. they're highlighting these kids. Everyone's got different talents. Like that is not the goal of a choir program or even a Christmas program.
You were cut.
Yeah, this is
I'm just saying.
You were good.
You're cut.
I mean, with that said, that kid can sing, but man, he sings all the time. Like when he was living at home, holy buckets, man.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's
I just can't fathom anyone doing that.
No, I mean, I probably would get cut too, but
but you know, it's funny. Like you look back. I mean, like I mean, you probably took it hard, but Kevin and I didn't. We were like,
yeah, you get to go to the library together. You didn't
don't
care.
sing. That's okay. We could play hockey pretty good. You know, I mean, yeah. But like you know, the funny thing is like so we did a country musical, right? We did Country Crush. So that requires some musical talent. So here's what I'm good at. I know what I like, and I know what sounds good. So I can kind of tell you what I want it to sound like and all that stuff. And I can say, well, I don't like this and make it sound like this. But if you ask me to actually like sing it or whatever, I'm like, because I'm going to sing it. You'll be like, you want that? I'm like, no, of course I don't want that. I want something better than that.
That's why I hired you.
Exactly.
All right. So you mentioned Drew gets to sing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are we going to get like an original song, like, or
it's original? He does sing an original Christmas song, but he did not write that
song.
Yeah, we bought it from somebody else. Just the timing was too short.
Yeah. But that's still
he does a beautiful job with it.
Yeah, it's a really
and he has a lovely performance at the Christmas market where he sings
a Christmas,
a traditional
Christmas
song.
Yeah.
I mean, he does a beautiful job every time he sings. Like,
yeah,
he can sing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for you guys to see like how great Holly and Drew are, you know, together. Like
I can't wait.
You know, this is further on in the relationship, and like, you know, it's always there's the stress of planning a wedding, but yeah, they're really great in the movie.
Yeah, I always love movies where we're seeing beyond the get together part.
Right. And we're seeing more of that in these movies, more sequels, more carrying on with things. And I think people really love that. And also, it's not just to the kiss, like people are enjoying seeing these married couples together. So now one of the couples is married, and I love that. We love seeing that next step. So that's super fun.
Yeah, I think the genre should always change, you know, slightly. Like you can only do the same stories so much, right? And you know, it's, you know, like you have bingo cards. And why do you have bingo cards, right? You have bingo cards.
You know what to expect.
You know what to expect, right? So you're playing in, you know, in a ballpark, but you kind of like to maybe expand the ballpark a bit and kind of, you know, you still have those things that make you feel, you know, at home, you know, and feel like Christmas. But it's always nice to have a variety of different stories there.
Yeah.
And I think the great thing with our Christmas wedding is you don't have to have seen the first one to enjoy this one. It's like everything's very clear. Like the relationships are all very clear and laid out in terms of who's who and what's what to who and that kind of thing. I mean, it's always nice to have seen the first one so that you can kind of see the progression. But we're definitely revisiting these people at a different stage of their lives, right? So it's, you know, they're happy and, you know, less you know, neurotic. Right? So,
do we know, are they is Great American Family replaying My Boss's Wedding right before?
I don't think so. I think that their mandate was that they were doing like wall-to-wall Christmas movies.
Oh, right. They are.
So, yeah. So like I'm sure at some point that will be a thing where they air like one and then two.
Right.
You know, but I don't think they're.
And My Boss's Wedding is a fall movie.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of those things where I anticipate like you will see them back to back at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right.
Gotcha.
But they are doing that everything Christmas right now. So continuous Christmas, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, fun. So make sure tomorrow you watch our Christmas wedding on Great American Family. Is it on at 8?
Yes.
8, 7 Central.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. And are you tweeting tomorrow night?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Okay.
We don't have any more sweaters to give away this time, so there's I know last time for Art of Christmas is really awesome.
Yeah, you guys were amazing. Thank you so much for the support.
That was fun.
It was really
fun. So
I have more sweaters, but I don't think anyone would want them.
So, somebody did message because we grabbed that super cute photo of the two of you, and somebody goes, "Wait, is that the magic sweater?" I'm like, "Nope, that's just Andrew's sweater."
No, and you know what? I think I got rid of that sweater too. I think that was the last time I wore that sweater.
He's so anti sweaters. I don't know what it is.
It's a t-shirt from now on. We're just gonna go with the
exactly.
t-shirt. Also, where can people find you on social media?
I'm at my name at Andrew Cymek, and both on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And I'm at Brigitte Kingsley on Instagram or at BE Kingsley. BEE Kingsley.
Yeah, BEE Kingsley on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So perfect.
Yeah, so make sure you're following them. And thank you so much for coming back. And thank you everybody who is watching.
That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Guys.
And if I don't see you guys before, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Enjoy the movie. When you watch it, tell me how beautiful it is. I always love to hear compliments because I have an issue. One time in grade school, this music teacher told me.
You have to go to the library.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
we love you
guys.
so much.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on one second. We'll end the stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.